Hello YouTube. Today I'm introducing a new series on this channel called Pearls of Wisdom, where I'm going to select a YouTuber, a fitness YouTuber, who at first glance doesn't look like much in terms of knowledge, in terms of hidden treasures of the soul, but that actually hides a lot of good stuff, a lot of information that, if looked at with the correct lens, can reveal a treasure trove full of pearls of wisdom. And today we're going to start with the Kyriakos Grizzly. It's not my first video about the guy, it's actually the second one. I already made one about bloat maxing. If you're interested, it's in the description. The reason why I picked him first is because he exemplifies why I wanted to start this series. I think that there are a lot of people on YouTube Fitness who at first glance look like memes, and maybe you even enjoy their content because they're entertaining and you're fine with just that. But I've always found one thing: the best memes are the ones that possess a hidden meaning. A meme that's just harmless fun with no deeper lecture tends to go away really quickly, they don't stick around. So if someone manages to build a following and to stay relevant for a long time, even though they're technically just a meme, to me it shows that they're more than that, it goes beyond that. And to me, the Grizzly is the perfect example because the guy spits pearls of wisdom. And you might even have never noticed it because he screams them at the camera and you're just so enthused by the persona that you never take the time to think. So today I want us to take a step back and actually look at the guy and what he says, because if you take a second to observe it, it's actually genius. The first one I want to discuss is the one that is making the most noise right now because it's entering the cycle of meme that is perpetual on this platform, and that is for the difficult. Kyriakos Grizzly states that he trains for the difficult. What does that mean? Well, it means that one of the first things that he seeks in his training sessions is for them to be as harsh and tough as possible. And that's interesting because you and I, when we train, the results seem to be the thing that we chase the most. We care the most about the results. And actually, most people that you listen to them because they got results, and so you think you're going to get results as well. But that man, that grizzly of a man, doesn't think like this. And at first glance, it sounds strange. Why would you only be seeking difficulty, right? Shouldn't difficulty be just a byproduct? Because at the end of the day, training any type of endeavor that is going to lead to results is going to be difficult. But it's not as easy as that because, as I said, the tendency to overfocus on results can become a problem because you ignore the journey. And that's something that I'm sure you've seen a million times where people tell you, oh, I want a 3-plate bench, I want bigger biceps, I want this, I want that. But then you never see these same people accomplish it. Why? Because they overfocus on the end. They're already in their own mind at the end. And because they have, again, this obsession with the results, they cannot get there. So this inability to perceive the journey as an important part of this entire experience is the reason why they will never get the results. Is the reason why ignoring the results and just doing it for the difficult is actually maybe the best way to get results. Because you'll get there, right? The difficulty is not the byproduct, you see. The result is the byproduct. So if you ignore the journey, chances are you will never get the results. And it's also the reason why, by the way, a big part of why lifting is so stimulating is found in these terms. Why do you like lifting so much? Is it because you got big off of it? That plays a role, but I don't think it's the only reason. I think one of the reasons is also because it gives you something more, and that something more is the difficulty. You might be addicted to the challenge, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all at some point are going to look back at why we started and we'll realize that we started strictly for results. We want to be more attractive to girls, we want to get bigger, we want abs, whatever. But I have found that in 100% of cases, the lifters that stick to it, make it the furthest and get the best bodies, physiques and strength are the ones who just at some point stopped caring about the results, where the journey was everything to them. They were starting to do it for the difficult. It's because we crave challenges. I think that it's something that at some point or another, every single man is going to realize. We want things to be tough. We want them to be hard. any amount of difficulty in our life rejoices us. And actually, I believe that if you are the type of man that complains when life gets difficult, it's a sign that your mentality is not right, that you might be suffering, your spirituality is not where it should be, because you should embrace the difficulty, right? And then you can get to the next step, which is to seek the difficulty, to do it for the difficult. You know, it's a saying that I'm sure you've heard before in the past. If it were easy, everybody would do it. Ronnie Coleman was known to say that, and he was right. If packing on muscle or strength was easy, just as easy as doing this, everyone would do it because there's no difficulty involved. But keep in mind one thing. The type of people that get gatekept by the difficulty, and therefore that can never get those things, are those that never deserve them in the first place. The difficulty is what separates normies, the randoms, the mediocre people, to lifters, to those that go after it. The difficulty is essential. We do it for the difficult, and what the difficult does for us is it gatekeeps people. It keeps people who don't deserve the gains at bay, because then they can never bypass the pain. They can never bypass the difficult. So even though I agree with this quote that everyone would do it if it were easy, I would also want to add one thing, that while this is true, it would also make the entire practice of muscle building and strength building lose value. Because if it were super easy, everybody would have it. So everyone would have it, and as we all know, if everyone is super, then no one is. But in this case, in this wood, and you know that if you go outside and you look at people, you, because you lift, are exceptional by default, because you do something that these people don't want to do. Why? Because it's not easy. So actually, we should welcome the fact that it's not easy, because it means that only the worthy can access it. And keep in mind one thing, I believe that 100% of people can do it. The difference is that some will never go and actually bypass the mental block of pain. And this mental block is there for a reason, because everything that is easy is cheap. It's something that you realize as well in life. There's no such thing as an intrinsic value to things. We value things off of our subjective notions. We decide the value of things in a sense. So if a thing is extremely easy to access, humanity as a whole decides that this thing must be cheap. Look at rocks on the ground. They're not expensive. Why? They're very easy to come by. Look at gold. Gold is rare. This is why it's so precious. And this is a lesson that we have to keep to mind and keep in our hearts. That lifting should be treasured because it's so hard, because it is, in a sense, rare, and everything that is rare is precious. That's also a lesson that this life teaches us. So we should, again, almost worship the difficult, because it's the reason why we do it. It's what gives us that amount of pleasure. I have always found that the greatest pleasures in life are not found in taking the easy way out. It's in the same vein. If something is easy to get, it's a cheap thrill. Like, look at something like masturbation. Why do you think masturbation, especially when you watch porn, is so dangerous? It's so destructive for the soul. It's because everyone can do it. Everyone has access to it. Everyone has access to that type of pleasure. And therefore, it can only be something that is going to be detrimental to you. Whereas, the amount of joy and pride you will feel if you achieve something via lifting is going to be miles above that, levels above that, because you would have put work into it. You would have accessed something through your hard work. You would have, in a sense, went past the difficult, obtained something, and as you turn back and you look back at what you thought was difficult, not only is it not as difficult anymore, but now you can appreciate it. You can realize that all of these moments where it sucked were worth it, right? You embraced the suck and you got something out of it because you took the hard path. The hard path is always the way to go. And in general, Kyriakos Grizzly is aligned with nature, right? His name of Grizzly is actually quite appropriate because this is a lesson that this word teaches us as well. The strong are those that do things that no one else is willing to do. Look again at the global male population. Look at the percent of them that lives seriously. You will find that even if you think yourself mediocre to the max, you are still a minority. You are part of a very rare breed of men that actually went and did the work, that actually went and faced the difficult. That's why lifters are special, by the way. I truly do believe in lifter supremacy. I do believe that we are special. We are the next step in the evolution of mankind because we have understood that putting the body back at the middle of our development was essential. Too many people in the society focus too much on the mind and they don't realize that it's not enough. You need also to make savage the body, the two go hand in hand. And who better than the grizzly to really, encompass what it means to make savage the body. The guy turned his body into a literal equipment. His body is like a walking tool. It might not be the most aesthetic, but for his purpose, which is lift heavy fucking weights, it works perfectly. So he managed to do that as well. It's also the reason why I believe that he gives excellent life advice without even really meaning to do it. By actually preaching the chase of the difficult, he presents lifters with a choice to make. Do you want to face the difficult or do you not? Understand one thing. Mediocrity is found in the avoidance of the difficult. And I even want to go deeper than that because I think that the term for the difficult is incredibly complex, more than you might think. You might just think, oh, it's a poorly crafted sentence. It's grammatically incorrect. You're wrong. You don't understand the genius of the grizzly. The guy is a poet. If you look at the sentence, right, and we actually do a deep dive, you will notice one thing. The sentence has several meanings. For the difficult can mean several things. It can mean for the difficult in the sense of chasing difficulty, right? So trying to find something difficult and doing that, focusing on that. But it can also mean for the difficult as in the difficult being a noun, being you. You are the difficult. You are a difficult human. And therefore, that type of life journey is for the difficult. The type of people that we are going to point out and say that person is exceptional are the ones that are going to seek out the type of hard training that the grizzly promotes. So it's for the difficult to get difficulty, so as for it to actually rebound back to us and make us the difficult, make us people who are tough to deal with for life in general, but also for others in terms of resilience. But I'm not done because it's not over here. I also believe that there is a third meaning that is hidden in the for the difficult, and that is that it transcends lifting. Right? To me, the message preached by the grizzly is one of renouncing comfort. It's not just that you're going to renounce results. It's that you're going to think about it outside of the realm of lifting in general. You're going to look at it as a fight against life. The difficult is not just a heavy set. It's an experience. It's a tiger. It's what I call the tiger. The tiger is a challenge. In this life, you will be faced with challenges, but you will quickly find out that this modern world has gotten rid of many of the tigers, and it also has started to shame men for wanting to fight tigers in the first place, where we are being called aggressive, toxic, etc. The grizzly is immune to the type of propaganda. The grizzly is not touchable. He cannot be subverted. And therefore, when he speaks about the difficult, he also speaks about rejecting the comfortable modern world. Take one look at the grizzly and tell me, does that look like a metrosexual to you? Does that look like a city boy that is going to go to Sephora and perfume himself? I don't think so. I don't even think he knows what a spoon is. I think he eats with his bare hands. It might be extreme, but he is the perfect representation of what it means to do it for the difficult. It's not just in the gym, it's also in life. This life is feeding you with easy things, easy way out. Do this shortcut, 2 weeks, reject difficulty, embrace weakness. All of that stuff, Grizzly saw it and he just pushed it away and it was like, no, I'm going to do it for the difficult. Meaning that he is going to go out and fight that tiger. If this world refuses to give us challenges, it is our duty to find the challenges. We have to go out and seek out that tiger and kill it as many times as possible. This is what Grizzly does. He finds difficult things to do in the gym and he does them for the difficult. And it's as simple as that.
And isn't that the perfect anti-modernity slogan as well? For the difficult? I mean, if you think about it, what is for the difficult exactly? It's the rejection of immediate pleasure, of instant gratification, right? If you look at this modern world, its slogan would be for the pleasure. So if you do it for the difficult, you are actively rejecting modernity. You are actively seeking something greater than these cheap thrills.
If you want to prepare for this life, if you want to become the difficult, you have to be on the offensive. offense is the best defense. You have to be the one to strike first. You always want to be the one on the hunt. And who better than a grizzly to teach other people how to be on the hunt? So that was for the first one, for the difficult. As you see, we're not talking about just a meme here. We're going to talk about a guy who actually has some things to teach us. The second one I want to talk about is mogging. The practice of mogging was, of course, existing prior to the grizzly, but he's sort of the personification of mogging, right? He's a human mogging machine. You can plug him in every environment and he's going to mug people. It's inevitable because he's too big. When he steps on a scale, the scale just is like, dude, like, you weigh so much that my computational powers cannot calculate it, so I'll just tell you that you're full. That's it. He's full. He's not even a weight. He transcended the realm of humanity. He left humanity behind. When he goes to the doctor and he writes on forms and he has to write weight, he just writes full because he doesn't even know his raw weight because there's no scale that actually captured this. And that's because he made mugging into an art. But I believe that mugging is often misconstrued because too many people see it as something that is done entirely to make other people feel bad. Because of course, when you are mugging someone, you are the mugger and they are the mugged. Someone is getting mugged somewhere. And therefore, it's often seen as something, again, that only exists to humiliate other people. But I don't believe that's the core of the practice at all. In my opinion, mugging is a pursuit of self-improvement. And yes, it's going to lead to comparison, right? Because in life, when you do something, you always compare it with others. It's inevitable, right? You are only tall because other people are short. We're going back on the notion of preciousness here. Gold is only precious because it's compared to rocks, right? So we can compare the two and say one has to be more precious because it's more rare. Same for size. You mug someone because you compared yourself to them and you're bigger. So the comparison, of course, is present. And it can be used to draw motivation. Competition is also what breeds evolution in men. It's what it's what makes us want to do more and more and more. So there's a domination aspect that plays a role. And I'll never deny that or take that away. It's not a bad thing. It's not toxic to want to compete and beat people. But I think it's not enough to stop there. Because even though that's what mugging procures for the most part, it's not the end all be all. In my opinion, the people that get stuck in that mindset are the ones that only do it to feel superior to others and have found also that type of people never go far. Just like the type of bros that only want the results and ignore the journey and therefore never go through the journey and fail, you also have the type that only want to be better than this guy or that guy, and when they get there, they stop. And it's only natural, it's because you set a limit for yourself. You picked some dude that is most likely mediocre as fuck and you decided, oh, I'm going to mug him. Once you get there, what's next? You're going to pick the next guy? I guess it's doable, but I hope you understand that it's not sustainable and also you're missing the point. You're not at the center of your own universe now. You're just chasing goals after goals that are based on other people. And that leads me to a quote there's one from my favorite French author, Pierre Bottero, que son âme repose en paix, that I'm going to tell you right now, both in French and in English. Il y a une différence énorme entre celui qui cherche à se dépasser et celui qui veut être le meilleur. Le premier travaille sur lui, le second par rapport aux autres. So let me translate that for the type of people on the channel that are not frog. There is a massive difference between he who seeks to surpass others and he who seeks to be the best. The first one works. Sorry, what? Okay, I mistranslated, which is a shame. I deserve the death penalty for this. Okay, let's try again. There is a massive difference between he who seeks to just surpass his own self and he who seeks to be the best in comparison with others. The first works in relation to himself, the second in relation to others. That is the actual quote. What does it mean? It means that if you constantly let others be your standard, you're going to make very frequent pit stops, and chances are you'll never reach your full potential, because your full potential is not found in the limitations of others. It is infinite. So you should always seek to be the best you, and that's what the Kyriakos Grizzly does. He already mugs everyone. Does he stop? No, he's still going. Why? Because he does it just to be the best self. And even though you could disagree with what this means, for him, that's what it means. So this is the reason why you see that in Grizzly as well. He goes his own way. And I think it's the reason why he's so well liked. And he's not just a meme, is because it's always refreshing to see men who do things the way they want to do it, who don't necessarily want to push it onto others, but who are on their journey, they're on their path, and they don't give a fuck. Because you could look at the Grizzly and say, well, he's just fat. You're correct, he's very fat, but he doesn't give a fuck, he doesn't care. He's shirtless on the beach, he lives his best life. And that is for one reason and one reason only. He doesn't care about others. He does it for himself. He does it for the difficult. And that is what makes all the difference. It's the reason why he's so unstoppable. If you constantly let other people be your goal, your next goal, or your next, big thing, chances are you will never get big yourself. It's also the reason why the Grizzly doesn't follow trends. He creates them, right? Trend creators tend to be people who are extremely independent and who just do their own thing. They don't seek to create trends, it just so happens. Look at the amount of memes that the Grizzly has created. Too many to count. Do you think that he has like a marketing team that creates those memes? I don't think so. I just think he lives his life and he just so happens to create genius and to create entertainment. Because his vision itself is extreme, but most importantly, it's his own. He is the designer of his own destiny, and I believe that this is the key to happiness. Even if someone else has a goal or a dream and it looks really good and you think, oh, it's going to make me feel better, or oh, it's the key to my fulfillment, that's bullshit. Even if the plan is perfectly crafted, it was perfectly crafted for someone else, not for you. The type of plan that you can come up with for your own life is the best of the best. Even if it's not perfect, it's still you. It came from your identity, and this is the one you should follow. So I say, find your own calling. Look at the Grizzly. Don't copy him. Don't make the mistake I see too many people make of just looking at someone who is exceptional and trying to be them. Look at their individuality and understand that you should try to replicate that originally within yourself without being a copycat, because as we all know, copycats get devoured by grizzlies. And now I'm going to end with the third one, the one that is my favorite, which is you have to live it. What does it mean? What does you have to live it means? Again, it looks like a poorly crafted sentence, poor syntax, but there is a certain craftsmanship in Grizzly's writing that is too deep for the layman to understand. I think you need a PhD in grunts to be able to actually capture that type of pearl of wisdom. You need to go and dive deep into the abyss to be able to actually find that level of treasure. So what I think this means is this. Lifting in general is more than just a hobby, right? It's not just something we go 2 hours a day to jog lightly on a treadmill and do curls. It goes beyond that. In my opinion, it's a way of life. And it's something also that you tend to see in very advanced lifters. People with the best physiques don't just do it because they do it for a hobby. Some people like to tell themselves they're hobbyists, but look at the amount of time we sink in this shit. Like, we're way past hobbyists. It's all we think about. It's all we do. We've sacrificed our social life for it. We sacrifice certain types of foods for it. Let's stop kidding ourselves. We are way past the point of being hobbyists. And it's actually perfectly fine, because you'll never get really good at something if you stay a hobbyist. Hobbyists stay mediocre. They stay randoms. If you want to transcend that, you have to embrace a lifestyle. You have to live it. Of course, sadly, the term lifestyle, especially in bodybuilding, has been corrupted, because now it's mostly an endless materialistic chase. A lifestyle is like, drink this pre-workout and get those clothes and do this type of program and go to this gym so that you can be seen with people and take selfies. All of that, I puke on it. It's fucking modern garbage. And at the end of the day, it's not even a lifestyle. Or at least it is, but it's not your lifestyle. Someone else pushed that on you. Refer to the previous point. If someone has a design for you, most likely it's garbage, and most likely it's to sell you something. The bodybuilding lifestyle was designed to sell supplements to people. Does the Grizzly sell supplements? When he tells you have to live it, does he sell you pills? I don't think so. He's just telling you that to make you understand that yes, you indeed do have to live it. It's a lifestyle. But the type, again, of vapid fucking lifestyle that this pretty boy on Instagram are trying to present to you as the way to make gains and the way to make it, it's nonsense. Actually, I wish that these guys would encounter the Grizzly, he would eat like 5 of them for breakfast and we'd be done with these twinks once and for all. Because at the end of the day, I firmly believe that at its core, lifting is spiritual. And you're going to tell me, well, NH, the Grizzly, spiritual? Like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. You ever heard him scream? Go back and listen to him scream. What I hear is this. I hear someone who is worshipping the pagan gods. I hear someone who is calling on to a superior entity with his screams, who just accomplished something of his body, and he's thanking his ancestors for giving him the chance of actually doing that. That's what I see, and that's also what I see in most advanced lifters. We go beyond the physical. I told you that the physical was incredibly important, but to me it's incredibly important because it gives you access to a deeper understanding of what you are up there. It opens up doors of the mind. And lifters who never graduate from the purely physical and who just do curls and do this and take selfies are missing out, because they're missing out on a key aspect. And that key aspect is the impact it has on your life. It's the ability to let lifting transform your life, to morph it. Remember your life before you started lifting. Look at it now. How much better is it now? Honestly, I remember the way I was before lifting. It was a sad sight. I was a mediocre garbage piece of shit. Lifting made me a better person in every single aspect, not just physical. It transformed my character. And every single person who sticks to it long enough will find out the same thing. But that has nothing to do with the physical. It's a spiritual gain. And that spiritual gain is only accessible because we live it, right? We allow lifting to shape our existence because we make it a part of our existence. And I believe that if you're just a tourist in this lifting shit and your heart is not into it and you just do it, you don't want to be a try-hard and you don't want to get too bulky, well, you won't get anything at all, right? You won't even get toned, because that's nonsense, as we all know. You'll just get no results. You need to invest yourself. You need to sacrifice the part of yourself to get something back. But most of the time, the part of yourself you're going to sacrifice is the degenerate part. It's the part that made you unhappy in the first place, and it's going to be replaced by something much better. Of course, that is if you didn't fall for the trap of fitness YouTubers and Instagram influencers that seek to replace that part that you're going to sacrifice with something even more toxic. But it's something that relates to identity, and I already spoke about that in length. So to go back to my point, you will never grasp all of the benefits lifting offers if you refuse to actually live it. And just like an artist doesn't stop thinking about his art when he's not performing or creating, we never stop thinking about lifting either. We carry our passion with us. Even when I'm not lifting, I'm still a lifter. It's a state of existence. A set of actions creates an identity that you can then carry with you. And it goes beyond muscles. Of course, the muscles indicate that I lift, but it's more than that. It's an attitude. It's the way of looking at life, right? Once you start lifting and you make it a lifestyle, you see everything with the lens of lifting. And I believe that it's one of the best ways to look at life because it opens the doors to what this life is. I'm going to tie it all together here, but because you do it for the difficult, you finally realize that the difficult is an integral part of life, unavoidable, and that not only is it unavoidable, it's vital. You have to seek it. Men that are depressed and miserable are the ones with no difficulty in their life that verifies itself every single time. People think that depression and misery and anxiety is caused by too many challenges. I say bullshit. I think that you don't get challenged enough, and that's the reason why you are restless, because your soul is not being tested. And so that also leads then to the mogging part, which means that you have to find that thing that is going to challenge you, that is going to make you want to go on that journey, to find the difficult, which at the end of the day is going to reshape your life. You will have lived it. The difficult is going to be a part of you. Your goal is going to become a part of you. And you're going to become a massive advocate for it as well, because I personally love nothing more than hearing people talk about their passion. And it's especially true with lifters. Lifters who have a true passion for it convert people because you show people what they could have in their life. You encapsulate all of it. And to me, that's why Grizzly is also so well liked. It is because he represents the paragon of someone who is intensely passionate about something. Even if no one thinks it's intelligent or interesting, he doesn't give a fuck. And it's the reason why he converted so many people, is because his passion is contagious. Your passion is contagious as well. Your fire can spread. And I believe that if you take these 3 pearls of wisdom from the Kyriakos Grizzly and you apply it to your life, and you actually put forth your best effort to do it, you will see insane results. And more importantly than that, you're going to show people around you that these results are achievable. And at the end of the day, if that is not the best reason to lift, I don't know what is. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.